Hello loves, and welcome to today's video. For the month of April, I had kind of two goals in my mind. One is to catch back up on my audiobook listening goal. I set a goal that I wanted to listen to 1,400 hours of audiobooks in 2025, which is about 20 hours per week, or roughly 2 audiobooks. And I've been consistently like 20 to 40 hours behind on that all year. So I really want to catch back up and maybe even get a little bit ahead. And I also want to do a spring deep clean of my entire apartment. And I figured I can combine those two goals. So today is going to be a vlog of me listening to some audiobooks, giving you my thoughts on how those go. Also cleaning my entire apartment as deeply as I have ever cleaned it in my entire life. I got some cleaning supplies. I got like 6 audiobooks loaded. Let's get started. So I split the job of cleaning my apartment into different zones of my apartment, and day one, my goal is my entryway, closets, and my bathroom. That is the goal to clean today. I woke up this morning to some good news, which is that my hold on The Long Walk by Stephen King is finally available. I placed this on hold March 17th of 2024. It's April of 2025. That's how long I've been waiting for this hold. Lovely timing. Let's listen to that. Cleaning the entryway of my apartment, which I started with because I thought my Swiffer, like the Swiffer cloth holder thing, was in the closet, and it's not there. I don't know where it is. Do I even own one? Who knows? That's all clean. Bathroom is next, but I am going to do a little check-in because I'm almost at 50% of The Long Walk. I'm at 46%. The Long Walk by Stephen King. You start out with this guy, and he is in this group of people who have to walk. And if they stop walking and get 3 or 4 strikes, then they get shot. Why they're doing this, I think, is for money, but basically like the last man standing wins. They have been walking for miles and miles and miles and miles. And I do like the premise. I'm not sold on the execution so far, just because it has those Stephen King trademarks of like the N-word was used. The characters have been very misogynist towards women. Like there's this guy who literally risks being shot to stop and shag someone who's on the sidelines who just basically wants bragging rights to be able to say she shagged one of these people. Then complains that he didn't get to finish. Is this really pressing? Is this really your concern right now? When you can't stop walking or else you get... But that's kind of what I come to expect from Stephen King. But usually there's a tension that kind of helps me look past some of that a little bit. But it is just this group of men talking shit at this point about how they're gonna win or like what they're gonna do when they win. And I'm not sold on it quite yet. So I'm gonna take a little break so I don't throw my back out, and then I have to clean the bathroom, and maybe I will finish an entire book today. That would be awesome. Hi, hello, it is the next day. I finished cleaning my hallway and my bathroom yesterday, and I also finished The Long Walk by Stephen King. And I ended up rating this at 3.25 because it was not action-y enough, which sounds kind of weird when I'm talking about a book where people get shot for not walking fast enough, but it was a lot of just the people talking back and forth about their life stories. It couldn't relate to any of the characters because they were all men. I don't think there was a woman in this book, and they were so misogynist, and some of them were racist, and I just couldn't get over that. I feel like if you were someone who liked The Stand, you might like this, but this felt very similar to The Stand for me, and I didn't like The Stand. Unfortunately, was not worth waiting over a year to get this audiobook. That's how we feel about The Long Walk, but I am happy that I got like a 10-hour audiobook finished in one day. We gotta get back at it because I still have other parts of my apartment I need to clean. Today we're going to try and tackle the kitchen because part of cleaning the hallway closet was there's some random kitchen stuff that was in there that now needs a spot in the actual kitchen, but obviously got to clean it out before we put that in there. I am going to listen to Girls with Sharp Sticks by Suzanne Young. This is about like a girls' academy where they are taught to be perfect, obedient little ladies. I assume something else is going to be going on. I'll let you know when we're like halfway in that. Little lunch break. I'm about halfway through Girls with Sharp Sticks. I'm at like 46%. Our main character, Philomena, is a girl at this academy where they teach you how to be obedient and perfect. Rich people send their daughters there, and she's kind of questioning how she doesn't really have that many memories from before. And they also have these pills that like alter memories, so she's kind of being very suspicious right now. I am really liking it so far. I recently read Antibot, and it's kind of giving me similar feelings about this book, except like YA student versus like adult sex toy. I'm enjoying it. I really want to finish it and see what kind of the mysterious underpinnings of this stuff is. I have taken a break. I'm enjoying this book so far. And now I gotta get the rest of my kitchen clean so I can make dinner at some point. Spilled on that fucking counter already. How dare you? Okay, we're now the morning of day 3. Yesterday, I spent 7 hours scrubbing my kitchen and it's still not fully clean yet. We just have countertop left on this side, but also all of the shit from other cabinets that I moved on to it. That's today's priority, and then I'll move on to like my bedroom area. Gotta clean out my closet and clothes and make my bed and all that stuff. That's the plan for today. While I didn't finish cleaning my kitchen, I did finish Girls with Sharp Sticks yesterday. This is a YA novel about our main character, Philomena. She is at this school where they're like wiping their memories if they misbehave. So she's trying to figure out like what's going on, how she can escape, whatever. I ended up really liking this one for the plot and intrigue. The characters were just okay for me. Philomena is only the really one I can remember, and then I think like the boy toy one. Other than that, I couldn't really keep the characters distinct in my mind, but the plot really carried this one. It had a lot of touchstones to other books that I've like mostly enjoyed. So it reminded me of Uglies because you have these like teenage girls who are being made to be perfect, some like brain tampering stuff going on. Never Let Me Go, which was similar because it is this school where there's clearly something they're being raised and bred to do, but you don't know yet. And then also Antibot of like them manually adjusting their personality whenever they start to get too rebellious, but also wanting the traits of them being rebellious at the same time. I end up really liking this one. So 4.25. I am going to read the sequel. I placed it on hold, but they just don't have an audiobook. Today, we're going to read the String Diaries. This is about a family who for generations has been like hunted by monster hunters. So we're trying to figure out why they're being hunted, and all they have is this like diary of tips. So that sounds like it'll be a good fast-moving action to get me through finishing cleaning my kitchen. Dear God, I don't want to have to be in this room any longer. So I'm not halfway through, I'm only like an hour and a half in, but unfortunately this audiobook has my pet peeve where they did not edit out the voice actor swallowing. I have a sensitivity to mouth noises, and I realize it's a natural thing that people do. You have to swallow, but I can hear it, and that might be driving me slightly insane. So we'll see how much longer I can put up with that. Hopefully it gets better. It's just my pet peeve specifically with audiobooks is like, you could splice that out. I do it in my own videos. Lunch break time, I am at 55% of the string diaries. So there's this family who's being hunted by a shapeshifter throughout the generations. So we have a current day family who have just been attacked by this shapeshifter and have fled to like a cabin, and they're trying to make sure that none of the family have been replaced by this shapeshifter. We then are also getting flashbacks to throughout this family's history, shapeshifter like hunting them down, and then also like the origins of why he's hunting them down. Because we're switching perspectives and timelines, I'm struggling a little to keep the story straight. I am mostly enjoying it. I do just kind of want something really drastic to happen towards the climax that will really sell me on this. Okay, it is day 4 of deep cleaning my apartment. Day 3, I did finish cleaning up my bedroom and the kitchen. Mostly that baking soda is hard to get out of my stove. Bedroom's clean though. I did do some reorg of the living room a little bit because I moved my on-red shelf to by my bed, but I don't think it's gonna end up staying there. We'll see how today goes. Today I have to clean my living room and my desk area, which is complicated by the fact that the living room kind of became a dumping ground for all the stuff I didn't have a place for yet when I was cleaning everywhere else. So we are probably going to end up going back to some places to put things back. In terms of reading, because that's what you're here for, I did finish The String Diaries by Stephen Lloyd Jones. The reason this is the first time I'm saying the author's name is because I could not remember if he was Stephen Lloyd Jones or Stephen Graham Jones. Stephen Graham Jones is a completely different author. String Diaries, you have this family who's being hunted down by a shapeshifter. This book lost me because of the motivation behind why the shapeshifter is hunting them down. I thought it was dumb. I also was just like cringing every time I heard the audio narrator swallow. Drove me crazy. So that probably also tainted my enjoyment of this as an experience overall. I couldn't relate to the motivation of the shapeshifter. It was the worst possible option they could have gone with. I didn't get a feel for the characters enough to be able to tell the difference between them to make any of the emotional stakes have any weight to them. So I did end up giving this a 2.75. I'm sure there are other people who will enjoy this, but for me, it's not the kind of story I enjoy. So it got to 2.75. I am hoping today is my last day of cleaning, so I'm also hoping to choose a banger to listen to for the day. So I have a few options. I have the audiobooks for Midnight at the Houdini by Delilah S. Dawson. I gave Delilah S. Dawson a 5-star last month. I have Mickey 7 by Edward Ashton. The movie of that just came out, so looking forward to reading that. Also, I don't need to listen to fan service on Spotify because my physical copy's coming in at the library finally. So I have a few different options of what I can listen to on Spotify for the month. I think I might listen to The Queen by Nick Cutter today. I did start reading it physically, and then I had a Dragon Age induced slump in the fall, so I ended up returning it to the library. So I think that's what I'm going to listen to today because I need to return to my horror roots. I've liked Nick Cutter in the past, so that's what we're going to go with for today, and clean the living area space and maybe reorganize my unread shelf for the 3rd time in a week. lunch break again because I made it to halfway through The Queen. The Queen is about this teenage girl whose friend has gone missing, and one day she gets a phone in the mail and it seems like her friend is texting her. But we also got this like prologue where she's hiding in a freezer because there are killer wasps everywhere, and there's also some flashes to the CEO guy whose sister was eaten by ants. So I am enjoying this so far. I do remember reading the prologue and the first few chapters before I returned the physical copy. Enjoy that. I am really sucked into it and trying to figure out what's going on with this CEO guy and how that ties into the missing friend, which I'm just starting to kind of get the explanation of. Obviously, I won't spoil that because I don't want to spoil the book for you. It is now Friday. I finished cleaning. The only thing left is my balcony, but I have to wait for some nicer weather before I can tackle that. It's rainy and gross. There's still a possibility it might snow again. I'm gonna wait to clean off the patio furniture until I'm sure that the snow's gone. And I did finish Nick Cutter's The Queen. I ended up with a rating of a 4.25. I really enjoyed the plot. I was intrigued by the genetic modification plot and the missing friend and what was going on with the rich CEO guy who needs some therapy, let's be honest. I was also tickled by all the Canadian references. The book is set in St. Catherine, which is an area I'm passingly familiar with. And there are so many references to like specifically Canadian things. Like showing up to a party and there's a McCain Deep and Delicious cake, which if you're not Canadian, you're missing out. Or like she grabbed her giant tiger tea. My entire wardrobe through university was courtesy of GT Boutique, so that was kind of really fun for me to experience. This book felt kind of on the young side. Storygraph does not say it's YA. It just says fiction, horror, and science fiction, but maybe it's just because the characters were teenagers, and I feel like part of the emotional stakes and the plot of this inspired the characters to be teenagers, which makes it kind of weird that this was an adult fiction horror. It also didn't have as much gore as I would expect from an adult horror. Maybe it's just because it kind of reminded me of Animorphs, but for teenagers. If you liked Animorphs and you like horror, this might be a good book for you? I don't know. I might be losing it at this point. I don't know. But I did enjoy the plot. I did enjoy the intrigue. The plot twist did not surprise me because it's a teenage book where one teenage girl went missing and there's references to something that happened at a party. I'm sure you can piece together what the plot twist there is just from that. But I did ultimately enjoy it. It made the cleaning go really quickly yesterday. So a 4.25 to The Queen. I still think The Troop was better. And as to my other goal, I did start this week, I think 20 hours behind on my audiobook listening goal, and I'm now 13 hours ahead. So I would call that a success. I have to try and keep the momentum going to keep that lead, but this was very helpful in, first of all, cleaning my apartment, and second of all, getting some audiobooks listened to. And now I know it takes approximately 4 audiobooks to clean my entire apartment. So if you made it to the end of this video, let me know what books give you like spring cleaning, spring feelings, and maybe I can slot them in to my goal for next year when I do this all over again. Or leave the sponge emoji for all of the dishes I've had to do this week. If you enjoyed, like and consider subscribing so you don't miss any of my future videos. There's links in the description to my Instagram and my Goodreads if you want to follow me and get some previews on what I read. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day. By the way, if you watched last week's video, know that it hasn't posted yet and I already know. My unread shelf is in a different place now, but it's too late to edit that video.